Hi, everyone. Welcome to Our Disabled Future. My name is Nico, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm wearing an orange t shirt. I'm seated against a purple wall with some bookcases. Our Disabled Future is a series where disabled voices lead the way. It is a good day for disability inclusion. Uh, each day during Disability Pride Month, I'm amplifying real disabled voices, where we are, where we want to go, and how we'll build the future we all deserve. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by my guest, Doris. Let's dive in. Hi, Doris. How are you?
Hola, hello, Nico. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for
And a
having
ple- of course, and a pleasure to speak with you as well. Let's hop right to it. Doris, tell us about yourself and your disabled life.
There are many layers to that. I was born with disabilities, invisible disabilities, and that have increased with age and with co-occurring disabilities and diagnoses, over 18 diagnoses that are invisible. And I am also a parent of children with medical complexities and a guardian ad litem for children in placement, also with medical or disabilities. And so my journey and life as a person with disabilities has been, as a Latina, especially with disabilities, in the beginning of my life, before I became a parent, actually, it was more, you know, to be seen and not heard, is how we were raised, and especially in Catholic schools and in public schools. My mother made sure that she advocated for me, and my father advocated for me. But it was more, seen and unheard until I became a parent, until I went to college, before I became a parent, and I was started to advocate for others, starting with the medical community and the language access component for those people whose first language is not was not English. And then I dove into, actually, I had a car accident. I was struck, and then my disability was really visible, with almost dying in the car accident, and my head went through the windshield, and I was in I had to use a wheelchair for some time. And so that began my journey into the actual disability component, away from my parents, and into my own advocacy and how I was going to navigate the system. And then I became a foster parent, single foster parent of kiddos with medical complexities and undiagnosed complexities. And that's where I found my fury and my reason to be for them, because they couldn't speak, and they once they did speak, they couldn't advocate for themselves sufficiently, because they also suffer from invisible disabilities. So it's been a long journey with disabilities, and how to come across and conquer that, and use my best practices to help others in my communities. So that's been my endeavor now, to use my best practices and my experiences, so that I can help others navigate the systems.
Thank you so much. I love what you say about finding your fury and then finding your own footing as a disability advocate, perhaps apart from how your parents advocated for you. I've seen that in my own journey as well. Thank you. So, what does a disability friendly future look like to you?
It's a form of universal design. So I went back to school to become, because I was advocating for my sons and the Spanish speaking community in schools, to advocate for services for them. And then I went back to school because I was tired of hearing or being noted as a parent, with that basically was uneducated, although I had 3 degrees at the time, uneducated, didn't understand. I was a single parent with children with adverse childhood experiences, so ACEs, and I was tired of hearing that excuse, basically, as an afterthought. So I went back to school for my master's in education, and I learned about universal design. So in a wonderful futuristic world, hopefully tomorrow, universal design oops has us working on together, not in silos as we do, working together to ensure that information access is accessible to the most complicated, complex, challenging of our learners or our in our society. And then that would trickle down to the typical, whatever typical is nowadays. And that would provide overall access and participation, because we should be informed of our lives, even as children. So what my future looks like is something that I've been incorporating as a parent. Is, when my children have their IEPs, have their IFSPs, all of those, since before kindergarten, and my little one is in preschool right now. So they participate, they learn how to advocate or how to participate in their own future or what they want, and charting their own life course. And so with help from others as needed, but with their voice, and taking the charge of their own lives and our own lives. That's the future that I see, and I don't understand why that's so complicated. It shouldn't be. It's available to even, I've worked with the developmental disabilities community, with the intellectual disabilities community, and some people in years ago, decades ago, even before I was born, would still, we hear and we see in legislation, handicapped or mentally ill or retarded. The word is still used, and it's still incorporated in our information. So we were seen in that capacity, and now we do so much more, and we're capable. We always have been, but we're out there, more so than not. And so it's not an anomaly. It's a fact.
I appreciate that. I love what you say about your future ideally containing universal design principles and early advocacy, early self-advocacy for disabled people. Those are, especially that last point, very important for my upbringing as well, and something that I try to instill in any younger disabled people that I have the honor of mentoring.
Yes.
You also say that you don't know why your vision of the disability friendly future is so complicated to grasp or tough to understand.
Mhm.
So how do we get there then in your mind? How do we get to that disabled friendly future?
I from experience and best practices in this world, it's not living in silos, and it's more comfortable to live in a silo. It's more comfortable to do things on my own, despite and in spite of having disabilities or challenges. It's more comfortable. So we have to get out of our own comfort zones and the silos. It's investing and being intentional about allyship. As a Latina, I was taught not, I have to do it all alone. And because if not, I'm going to be known as a woman that needs a man, or that needs a stronger woman or a stronger person in my life to do things for me, or to lead the way. And that's not where we are in 2025. So I think that is definitely what we should be in pursuit of, the pursuit of happiness, and not being invisible with liberty and justice for all, but being indivisible with liberty and justice for all, and just going those miles, because we can, and not to limit ourselves because we do.
All right, fairly simple tips to say, but as you mentioned, tough to work out and live in practice.
Yes.
My last question is, as disabled people, we so rarely get a chance to brag about ourselves, to be our own cheerleader, or to root ourselves on. And I want to give you that space. If you want to brag about anything, you have recently accomplished, if you just want to give a shout out to your online profiles, this is your chance to do it. Let's hear you brag.
Thank you. My all time brag is definitely my children as a mom, but also I just celebrated on the 26th the 27 years of founding a women's organization that's national, and Alpha Sigma Omega Latina Sorority Incorporated. We're national, and I founded that after I had graduated because I saw that there was a need for support and a space for other like-minded women that are, um, that are first gen and beyond. So that's a wonderful accomplishment, and I'm so proud of them and so proud of the opportunities that we've had to invest in our communities and in among our peers. And also the Bold Beauty Project, which is national, and actually we're trying to and gone international. Hopefully soon we'll be in Venice. But the Bold Beauty Project was founded in 2015, and it's photography by and for women with disabilities, or who identify as women with disabilities, and the photographers, the videographers, the women that are involved. Where we have launched a national campaign on campuses. So we just had the Yale campaign, Project X. It's the 10th exhibit that we've held, and I was part of that exhibit. And so we've gone to Panama, we're going to Venice, and the next one is in next week, or I think it's next week. I'm lost in days now. We're going to be at UCLA. We just came from before Yale. We were at in Florida, and so it's a wonderful opportunity. It's amazing what they've done with the photography and the photographers, and just to be in a collaborative like that is extremely empowering. And all the opportunities that I've had lately with Family Voices National with language access. So it's a lot. I've been told that I'm exhausting, and so I think that I try to overcompensate, and it is exhausting. Overcompensate for all of my diagnoses and the limitations that others have placed on me, to show my peers and my community and my children that yes, si se puede, we can, and we should. So thank you.
Of course, thank you for all the incredible work that you do, Doris. That sounds, well, I won't say exhausting, I will say inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nico, for this.
Of course. All right, folks, that's the first interview down. Take care, do good work, and remember, I'm rooting for you.